Because the doctors didn't seem to be able to help me, I began to research about my health problems. I found that I had the symptoms of fibromyalgia and even chronic fatigue syndrome. At that time, I was put on heavy doses of medication to try to control my joint pain, and I began taking antidepressants. I cut back on my work even more, and 5 months ago was no longer able to work at all. I got to the point where I was in bed 24 hours a day, just getting up long enough to take my son to school and back. I applied for disability, thinking that I would be sick the rest of my life and never work again. I had known Janet Pauly and her daughter Michelle for about 9 years. They knew that I had exhausted all my medical options. One day, Michelle gave me a book to read. It was Dr. John Lee's book, What Your Doctor May Not Tell You About Premenopause. She told me that when I had finished, I should come and see her mom. I read the book, and I could see that I had all the symptoms of estrogen dominance. So I brought the book to Janet, and I said, "This is the story of my life." I learned that my heavy periods and premenstrual migraines were probably due to a lack of progesterone to balance out my estrogen. I also learned that my hair loss, my depressed thyroid, and my blood sugar problems were all probably related to a lack of progesterone. Because my doctors had nothing more to offer me, I became open to more non-traditional natural forms of treatment. Janet put me on a schedule of natural products that she felt sure would help me. She suggested that I take 1 tablespoon of barley 3 times a day in order to feed the sick cells the nutrients they needed to get well. I took Prepzymes 2 capsules with each meal to make sure my food was completely digested so it could be assimilated. Mega 3 capsules twice a day so my body would have the essential fatty acids it needed. Proancinol 2 capsules every day. Proancinol is a balanced combination of antioxidants. Frame Essentials 2 capsules 3 times a day for my joint pain. This not only helps the pain, but supplies the joint with the nutrients it needs to heal. Flora Food 2 capsules daily to supply friendly bacteria for my colon. I learned that the friendly bacteria was killed off when I took antibiotics, and I had taken plenty of them. These friendly bacteria also make the B vitamins that I needed for my depression. Renewed Balance 2 pumps in the morning and 2 pumps in the evening. This is AIM's natural progesterone cream, which balances my own estrogen. She also put me on a program that included plenty of fresh fruits and vegetables with 3 meals a day, plenty of water, and walking 30 minutes a day. Almost immediately after following this plan, I had more energy and didn't even require a nap in the afternoon. I also didn't experience any breakthrough pain in my elbows or knees, and between my doses of pain medication and anti-inflammatories, which had been happening earlier. After the first week on this program, I was able to completely stop my pain medication, and my blood sugar stopped its wild fluctuations. My energy level increased almost immediately. When I felt my premenstrual migraine coming on, I used some extra Renewed Balance, and the migraine stopped. By the second week, I began to sleep better. And it has now been about 3 weeks since I started on the AIM products, and I am completely off pain medication and anti-inflammatories. My energy level hasn't been this good in years. I now understand that there is a fine balance between our nutrition, our hormones, and our exercise. And when this balance is upset, our health deteriorates. Now I'm feeling good enough to go back to work and start living again. I'm thankful to God and the end products for giving me my life back. And I'm thankful for friends who reached out to me in my time of need. Oh yes, I wanted my son Zachary to take Barley Life too, but he didn't like it. So I got a jar of the Barley Life Extra, and he likes it and he's taking it regularly. I'm so pleased about this.
I'm Ruth Martin. I live here, and I don't want to ever live anywhere else. I want to live here the rest of my life. I have been taking barley more than 10 years, and I don't have a pain. I haven't had pains, and that is the most wonderful thing. I just praise the Lord every day that at my age, I just don't feel bad. I like to eat. Food tastes so good to me. And I just hope that every one of you feel as good as I do when you're 94 years old.
Hi there, I'm Gary Blakeney, and my wife and I have been married over 31 years. We have 4 children. When we'd moved to Clifton, our older children were already teenagers. Well, our older son had always had some breathing type problems too, and we had even had him on allergy shots. And when he took a little of this green powder every day, he didn't need his allergy shots. When he was a junior in high school, though, we think possibly he was mowing a lawn on the weekend and he got poison ivy. But he didn't tell us. And so on Thursday, he comes home from school and he says, "Mom, I need to show you something." And on his left leg, from about the bottom of his buttocks down to just above his ankle, that poison ivy had become so severe that his left leg was about twice the size of his right leg. He could barely get his pants on, and it was rubbing, and he couldn't sit at school. And she called me in there to look at it, and what I saw was oozing, weeping, seeping, this pussy raw hamburger. I'd never seen anything look so bad. And I didn't know what we were going to do. Well, it was late in the day, and we couldn't get into the doctor, so we waited the next morning, got an appointment, and went in to the doctor. And the doctor said, "Well, yeah, it's poison ivy, all right, but we can give him a steroid shot, and it might help a little bit, but it's going to be a couple of weeks for this to go away. And with a steroid shot, it might help him 2, 3, 4 days and a little bit. And since we've been taking all these health products and been working that direction, Robin didn't think I'd let him have a steroid, and so she refused it. And I probably would have let him anything, but because it looked that bad. And she came in, she looked at me, and she said, "We're going to do something. We've got to do something." I said, "Well, what do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, we'll have to get his participation. You know, he is a junior in high school." And so we brought him in and sat him down and said, now Joseph, you're going to have to take a whole lot more of this Barley Life. In fact, you're going to have to start taking the trio. You're going to have Barley Life and Just Carrots and Ready Beets. And we've got to get, the doctor told us, till it gets out of his system. So Robin says he needs herbal fiber blend. And so Joseph, the first time I remember, laid him down. I got some towels out, and we laid him down on his stomach, and he got comfortable. And I got back behind him, and I took a jar of Barley Life, and I took a teaspoon, and I'd put it in, or a tablespoon, and I put it in there, and I would start with that raw mass of oozing flesh, and I would sprinkle that all the way down his leg till I had all that pussy part covered with the green powder. And then I'd take calamine lotion and I'd pour it down the back of his leg. Now, I didn't even like to look at his leg. And then I would take my fingers and I would rub all that in till it was all rubbed in. And we'd leave him laying there on his stomach for 30 minutes to an hour until it all dried. They did that on that Friday afternoon, and then again before he went to bed that night. We did it about 3 or 4 times Saturday, and we did it again Sunday. And he got up and he went to church with us that morning and was able to get his pants on, and things were beginning to look a lot better. So by Monday morning, there were just 2 little spots that were left, and all of the weeping and the oozing had gone, and everywhere else was beginning the new pink skin, and by 4 days, it was nearly all gone. And my wife says to this day that it's the herbal fiber blend that cleansed his system. And we also, I should have said earlier, we changed his diet. We said, now you're going to have to change the way you eat. Took him off all the sugar, took him off the white flour, took him off all the white products, basically. And said very, very little meat. Just the size of a deck of playing cards is all you'll get each day. And it's going to be only the best sources of meat at that. And lots of vegetables. We'll even cut back on your fruit because it has so much sugar in it. And so we radically changed his diet, and he agreed to it, and he stayed on this for about 2 weeks. And all of his symptoms basically went away. My wife thinks it's the herbal fiber blend that cleansed the system. I think it was the wonderful massage of that topical barley, but or the fact that we gave him more nutrition, better nutrition, good health, and quality life. Isn't that what we all want, whether we're a teenager in high school or like we've just heard from this 94-year-old? And that's what we have with these wonderful products. And I'm thankful for AIM Barley Life.
Hi, my name is Tad Long, and I've been taking Barley Life now, I guess, for about 15 years now. And I don't have any miraculous story to share. My wife introduced me to Barley Life when we first started dating. And I have been fairly health conscious since, I guess around 25. I started to become more interested in health and became a vegetarian and started watching what I eat and exercising more. I've always been involved in sports and all that. But I really turned a leaf in my life and wanted to become more healthy. And so I started eating right. And I said when we got married, I started taking Barley Life. And I just know, just from reading the literature on it, just how beneficial it is to my body. And I think, like you mentioned, the healthy cell concept, and I believe very wholeheartedly in that. And so I've been taking it for 15 years. I'm an outdoor educator. I work for a private school. I work with 1st through 8th graders, and I take them backpacking, rock climbing, rafting, camping, hiking, out over 100 days a year. And while you're backpacking or camping, you're not always getting the proper food that you need. I like to eat a lot of fresh vegetables and fruits and that, and they're just not quite available, especially when you're out backpacking and that. And so I take my Barley Life with me on my trips, and I'll put it in little vials and that and carry my backpacks with me. I had to run down and get my reading glasses here and open my glove compartment, and there's a jar of Barley Life in my glove compartment because I just take it as I'm driving to work every day. So it's something I do believe very wholeheartedly in, and it felt great ever since I'm using it. I don't have, I can't tell this big story, have a big difference, but I just know that it's helping me out and keeping me healthy. My son takes it. He's taken it since he was an infant, and he and I both, we're one of the rare ones who just drink it or take it straight out of the jar. I just put on a spoonful and eat the powder, and Garrett has followed suit with that and kept the male tradition part of it in our family. And I just know it's good for him. It's something that my wife and I feel that if we model healthy diet and living properly, that's something hopefully he'll adopt in his life, and that's important to us too. That it's something that hopefully he'll become habitual in his life and he'll carry on as he gets older too. So. But again, it's just something that I take with me wherever I go. It gives me a lot of energy, and when you're working with 1st through 8th graders, there are a lot of young ones that have a lot of energy, and so I'm trekking up mountaintops with them, and it keeps me going to keep up with those young people. So that's all I have to say.
Hi, I'm Michelle Long. When I was 16 years old, I began having episodes of severe intestinal cramping, diarrhea, and passing blood when I went to the bathroom. I was hospitalized for about a week, during which time a biopsy of my colon was done and I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis.